Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1985 Detroit Tigers season replay. Earlier today, we wrapped up the month of July with a 9-5 victory over the Angels. We've won 3 in a row. Closing out the month, our offense is kind of kicked into high gear during this series, and we'll have one more game against the Angels on August 1st before we head on the road to face the Brewers. So now that the month of July is over, this will be our end of July summary video. We're going to take a look at the standings first, and then we'll take a look at all the trades that occurred throughout the season. Now, as this is the trade deadline that occurred earlier today, I kind of expected there wouldn't be any trades taking place today. The game doesn't really react like real life, where that final week, the week that we're living in right now, I think, that final week, there's a flurry of trades among teams that are trying to get the best deal they can for their available players. Well, this game doesn't react that way. So there were no actual trades that took place today, but we will recap all the trades that have taken place throughout the season. So we have that to look forward to. We'll also take a quick look at the player pyramid, which you may have seen on the title card. And of course, we're going to finish it up by looking at the league leaders through the month of July. So let's kick it off with the standings review. With our current 3-game winning streak, all that's really done is kept us on pace with Boston. And with the loss earlier today by the Yankees, we did gain 1 game to 2.5 back. Cleveland is still technically in the race. They are 7.5 back, doing much better than I think we ever could have anticipated that they would. Their team seems to be hitting well. Baltimore has completely fallen off the map. They're at 500, and Toronto and Milwaukee are wrapping up the division. And then, excuse me, we take a look here at the West. Oakland is closing the gap a little bit, trying to make it interesting. I would have said that Chicago was going to run away with this division, but when I looked at the player pyramid, I didn't see any Chicago White Sox players on that pyramid. So I don't know if they're doing it with smoke and mirrors. I'm not really sure what it is, other than power and some decent pitching. So Oakland and Seattle are still technically in the running with the current 3-game losing streak by the Angels against us. That's moved them to 10.5 back. And Texas, Kansas City, and Minnesota are completely out of it at this point. So looking at the American League, you'll see that we finally just hit our 100th home run of the season earlier today. Also our number 101. So we're right there with the Yankees. They're better than us with batting average, as you might expect. We've stopped stealing bases up, for the last 3 months because I was tired of getting thrown out on the base path. And now that we've completed the month of July, I'm going to get back to, stealing, hitting and running, taking an extra base. I think I've proven that doing those things don't really make a difference in your standings. We just finished the month 15-9. And we didn't steal 1 single base. So I don't think anything that actually takes place with your offensive options make a lick of difference. Whether you're sacrificing bunts or trying to hit for a sacrifice fly, it doesn't make a difference. And so, I'm going to start doing that just for the stat accumulation purpose of it all. And the fact that we haven't done it in 3 months, maybe we'll have an advantage with stolen bases, trying to tally up individual stolen bases to catch up to all of our American League teams. So I don't know. I'm really on the fence of whether or not it will make a difference, but I mean, I don't think it does. So, nonetheless, that's the American League for you. Let's take a look at the National League. Philadelphia, with a 2-game winning streak, and Chicago losing 4. Philadelphia is now within 10. I mean, I declared this division over. But Chicago has gone through some injuries. Philadelphia, of course, has lost 3 of their 5 starting pitchers from opening day. So, you would think that they would not be able to make a run, but you just never know with Baseball Mogul. New York, Pittsburgh, Montreal, St. Louis are done. And Los Angeles has pretty much closed out this division. It looks like Houston's on a 6-game winning streak, but they're 5 games under 500. San Diego, Cincinnati are 12.5 and 14 games back. There's nothing that's going to change this division other than maybe Cincinnati and San Diego flip-flopping. Otherwise, this division is done. So, the National League, traditionally in our sims, are wrapped up early, but this is the first time that we've seen the Cubs make a good run at it, and that's because their pitching staff is pretty strong with Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson. I think David Wells is on there. And then, the scrubs that have found a second career in Baseball Mogul are leading that team. So, it's exciting to see. So that pretty much summarizes the National League. I mean, if I had to put money down on it, I would say both of these divisions are done, but I guess we'll find out in the final 2 months. So there's the National League standings for you. We'll take a look, I think, next. Let's take a look at the transactions. How about we do that? And you'll see that today, after today's ball game, Baylor Moore retired. He was on Toronto, hadn't played since our strike-shortened season of 1981. He got into 4 games, nothing exciting there. And then John Smoltz will miss a couple days for the Dodgers. He's in the minor leagues anyway as a rookie. As a recently drafted player. So it's only a couple days, no big deal. So that's what happened earlier today. Now let's take a look back at the trades from this season. Why is this not letting me click on it? I'm not sure why it's going slow, but it'll be okay here in 1 second. I'm fairly certain, as it's thinking about it. Maybe I'll just edit this out. I'll probably just edit this out. I mean, it's kind of stupid. I know this is not a permanent issue. This will only last for another minute or so, but there we go. All right. Okay. We're back. Let's just take a look at trades. Now, the trades that took place before the season, April 1st, we're not really all that concerned about that because we've already seen those players on their teams. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at all the trades from April, and we're just going to look and see how these trades played out. There were a lot of trades, especially done by our team, but the other teams I'm the ones I'm most curious about. Now, what was interesting was Len Matusik was a free agent after having a solid career with the Phillies, and then he got signed as a free agent by St. Louis, and after 12 games, he traded him right back to Philadelphia. I think that's hilarious. He was the All-Star MVP from this season, and you look at his vitals, and you'll see he's won an MVP in '83. He won a Gold Glove that year, too. There's a 2-time All-Star with 3 Grand Slams. So, St. Louis, a team that's in last place, signing this free agent doesn't make a lot of sense that they would sign and trade him to a team in their own division. But that's what happened, and Philadelphia, I guess, is still technically in it, thanks to Len Matusik hitting strongly. So that was a good trade for Philadelphia. In return, St. Louis got Ron Gant, who's in single A for the 4th consecutive year, or 3rd consecutive year, and Angel Salazar, who actually was in the major leagues in 1985 for the Expos. The best he can do is be in Double A. And both of these players have high peaks, so sooner or later they might help California. Now, here's our trade with the Angels. Took place on April 23rd. It's a little confusing because there was a secondary trade between Philadelphia and Chicago, but we'll look at our trade. So we traded with California on April 23rd, so within the first month of the year, for Todd Fisher, and this has turned out to be maybe the best trade we've made all year. Super reliable, getting the job done, not giving up hits, keeping the walks to a minimum. He's only given up 9 runs total, and he's got 5 victories and 3 saves. He's our setup man, and I count on him to get 3 outs, and he almost always comes through. So Todd Fisher, great deal for us. We also picked up Freddie Martinez. We'll see him with September call-ups. His career was technically over. He's 28 years old, still on a minor league deal, and he'll get called up. Right now he's a starter in AAA for us, and not a lot going on there. In return, we did a tough thing. We traded Alan Trammell. Trammell was off to a hot start, and he was going to be a free agent at the end of the year, still is, and we would never be able to pay him the amount of money that he was going to require. I mean, considering Alan Trammell's my all-time favorite Detroit Tiger player, this was a tough thing for me to do, and you can see that he's done okay with the Angels. He's an everyday starter for them, and he's putting up some okay numbers for them. So defensively, we've absolutely missed him. He's got a .981 fielding percentage, but his defensive range and WAR in Anaheim has been terrible. In fact, his defense has cost him a game on average. So that sucks. And we've had Barry Larkin, who's much worse than Alan Trammell defensively. So that we've missed, although he's not doing too well. We also traded away Glenn Wilson, who had this breakout season for us in '83, batting .287 with 24 home runs and 93 RBI. Last year, he played even more than he had, and he was almost unplayable. I think his WAR was in the negative. And then this year, he got off to such a terrible start that we included him in that deal, which was the only way we could get Todd Fisher. And he's remained in Double-A and or Triple-A. Wow, he's in Double-A. He's actually gone down further in their minor league system. He's batting .302. Anyway, so that was that trade. And then Glenn Gulliver went from Chicago to Philadelphia. He's their everyday. Maybe he platoons, actually, at third base for the Phillies. He's batting .231. And he was a Tiger during our 1980 season, an original Tiger that we traded away. He's had a pretty good career, considering he was out of baseball by '84. So he was traded to Philadelphia in return. Chris Jones went to the Pirates. Wait, was he on the Pirates? No, that's not right. Chris Jones must have been traded a second time. Yeah, he must have been traded again. And Domingo Martinez went to the Cubs. So Chris Jones has already moved on to Pittsburgh. Yeah, right there is the deal. Okay. Good to know. I don't even remember that happening. So, clearly Philadelphia's won that deal so far. And then Chris Jones was flipped for Vance Law. That's right. So that worked out really well for the Cubbies. He is their everyday third baseman, and he's batting .270 with 13 home runs after hitting just 1 home run for the Pirates. And in return, the Pirates got Chris Jones, so there he is. So he's been on 3 minor league single-A teams this season, and at least now he's hitting pretty good for the Pirates, batting .315. Okay, taking a step back here. Then we got serious, and we traded away another Tiger player who was absolutely tanking it, and that's Kenny Smith, who subsequently was turned around and eventually traded to the Yankees. But he was batting 140. He continues to walk for us, but could not get hits, had not hit a home run, and we were counting on him being our first baseman or DH, depending upon what George Brett was going to do, and he absolutely has done nothing for anybody. I do believe he hit a home run against us this year as the Yankees beat us soundly one of those recent starts. So, Kenny Smith and then Dwayne Murphy, we tried to give him a go early in the season, traded him to the Twins, and that was the best thing for him because he would have been a fourth outfielder for us. Really good defensively, and he's been an almost everyday player for the Twins, and you can see he's put up some okay numbers. In return, we got Jim Eisenreich. All he's done is have a 423 slugging percentage. He's doubling, he's hitting home runs, batting 265. I mean, holding down right field. So that worked out okay. And we also got Doug Davis, who I think is in AAA now. He'll get a September call-up, I'm sure. Not hitting very well, though, so maybe he won't. And we also got Tim Tuffle, who's been in AAA for us. And there's no reason to bring him up, but maybe September. Okay, then Minnesota must have already packed it in. It's May 11th now. And they trade Joe Patini, who they got from Cincinnati, and they trade him to the Reds. So he goes back to Cincinnati, and he's continuing to hit well, steals bases, no power at all. And in return, Benito Santiago, great defensive catcher, not in this game apparently. And he's in single A, so he goes to the Twins. And maybe some of these numbers have not improved because the Twins are not spending their money on their farm system. So that's a possibility. And then the shocker of all shockers, on May 20th, with the Yankees in sixth place, they traded Ozzie Smith to the Mets. So he goes right across town, gets on the subway, and he continues to bat about the same. So Ozzie Smith really, I don't see how he was hurting this team, but especially defensively, look at how he's in the 90s at almost every position. And yet they traded him. So maybe they were thinking, because he's going to a free agency, that they would not be able to sign him. In return, they got back Tim McIntosh, a catcher, who's now been traded to the Twins, and also Mike Magnante, who's in single A. Okay, so a weird trade that the Mets have certainly won at this point, or maybe not. Maybe the Yankees are winning because they're in first. And then I just got nutty. The Astros offered us, at the time, the number one hitting player in the entire game, Damon Berryhill. We traded them our current left fielder, Jeff Stone, who's batting 295. He's batting 331 for us. He's now got 15 runs between the two teams. He's batting right there around 300 for the Astros. We also gave up Craig Wilson, who's got a 90 rating. And he's played a little bit. He's now down in single A, but he did get a little cup of coffee. Didn't do all that great. And then Mark Leiter, remember, we traded him right after he made a start. And he got clobbered, and we sent him out of town. And he made a couple starts for the Astros and did a better than he was with us. So his 6 pitches, 4 of which are useless. So I'm curious to see if he makes any headway in Houston. And then we got Damon Berryhill. And I was super excited for this. And then you know what happened. He was horrible. He wasn't helping us defensively. He could not hit. He was batting .171 at one point. He did become the all-star catcher, basically on his Houston stats. And then only in the last week has he started hitting. He had two home run games in 2 out of 3 games. And then he took an offer and he got a hit today and drove in a run. So I really believe that he's, ready to provide some, power, so a little more consistency behind the plate. But he walked more than he struck out with Houston, and he's got 9 walks and 33 strikeouts and 7 grounding into double plays. Now that we're going to be hitting and running more often, maybe the strikeout total will go down, and certainly the double plays won't happen as much. We also got Danny Heap. We called him up briefly, and he got a couple of hits, but he's back in AAA, and he will absolutely be on our September call-up. Okay, so that was a big trade. I think they've won that battle so far, but the season's not over yet. Then Baltimore, in a panic, sorry for my phone going off. Then Baltimore, in a panic, traded Tom Herr to California, and Herr's been doing okay. 31 games, so 1 month worth of playing time. And he's 7 for 7 stolen bases. Only 1 home run, but it's more than he had with Baltimore. California's out of it. But he's been tough against us, hasn't he? In return, California sent Bob Wells, a couple scrubby pitchers, Bob Wells, single A, and Paul McClellan in single A. So not a big deal there. And then the White Sox started getting into it as they continued to move up to first place. They traded for Rick Peters of Pittsburgh. He is now their everyday center fielder. He bumped out, was it Odeby McDowell? He bumped out a good player on this team. And nonetheless, he's doing better than he was in Pittsburgh, and I'm sure he's helping them. In return, the White Sox gave up 3 minor leaguers. Wes Chamberlain, who's moved on to he's on the Pirates, so they must have got him at some point from a different team. Jeff Shaw, yeah, good reliever in his time. And Pete Harnish, who did make 2 starts, didn't do so well for Pittsburgh as an 18-year-old, and is back down in single A ball. All right, we're almost done here. Darren Dalton, Dutch Dalton, got traded from Atlanta to Cincinnati, and he's been terrible. So maybe it's a catcher thing. I don't know. So Dalton went to Cincinnati. Cincinnati gave up Ruben Sierra, a great future player for them. Can't play anywhere defensively, though. Doesn't really have a position. They also got Bien Figueroa, shortstop, and Eric Yelding, single A. So, players for the future. That's kind of how the game works. And then Cincinnati made another trade. They traded for Big Daddy, Cecil Fielder, who was injured at the time, if you remember. And he's been off the IL now for 17 games, batting .250. He's got 4 home runs. The Reds are not going to do anything this year, but that's a good first baseman to have. I think he bumped out Nick Saski, who was their everyday first baseman. So sucks to be him. In return, Minnesota, just trying to get anything going, Gets Steve Scarsoni, a second baseman with some decent ratings. Buddy Groom, he's your buddy. And he's in single A. And also Stan Belinda. And he is also in single A. So Minnesota building a minor league roster of mediocrity, but you know what? You got to start somewhere. Then, weirdly enough, the Giants traded Ken Oberkfell to the A's, and I believe he is splitting time at third base with a platoon, batting .262, a couple of home runs. And in return, the Giants got Dave Hollins, who I believe was a top pick. Second round pick. Okay. And he goes to the Giants as he played with the A's for a little bit, somehow at age 17. And they also got Mel Roja, who's in single A. So not a lot going on there. And then July 1st, at the beginning of the month, here it is. Ken Smith going to the Yankees. We already know that. He's not doing well. In return was Tim McIntosh. So that's how he got to be on 3 teams. Now on the Twins in single A. Baltimore, this was a crushing blow for Seattle. They traded for Ray Smith. They have Butch Weiniger, who had been their everyday catcher, and they trade for him. He plays 2 games, breaks his leg, and that's it. Nothing else to offer. So that was a real bummer. In return, they gave up Pat Combs, single A, and Julian Yan, single A. Okay, and then here's our last-ditch effort to make something happen. We traded a bunch of schlubs for Tom Gorman, who's been great. He finally gave up his first run. He's 2-0. He's lights out, 118 opponent's batting average. So that worked out for us. Basically, if you remember, I went shopping for any left-hander that could actually get lefties out. And he also happens to get righties out really, really good, too. Clicked on it. Oh, is it good? There we go. There we go. So he went 4 for 14 with us and hit a home run, and he's got a 92 power. But we had to throw in somebody to try to get him, and he was really the best player. Keith Comstock is done. He's in AAA. He had a terrible year for us after many, many good years. We also gave up Larry Rothschild, who cares? And we gave up Frank LaCourte, who last year was absolutely lights out as a free agent signing. We re-signed him to a minor league deal, and he was terrible. Lightning couldn't strike twice. Okay, and then this was it. This is when I proved that I was all in. We traded for Teddy Higuera, who fell off the player pyramid. Pardon me while I wet my whistle here. Thank you. He made 3 starts for us. He's 2-1 with a 3 ERA. He actually pitched a complete game. 19 strikeouts and 21 innings pitched. He's been great. He had 1 bad start, right? Oh, yeah, the first start. But that was basically due to errors because 5 runs were unearned. He gave up 13 hits, which was tough. But he's been good since then. And we gave up George Brett. It was tough because he's one of my all-time favorite players. We traded him to Milwaukee, and he hits 2 home runs like right away. He had 1 the whole time. We tried putting him on the IL intentionally to give him some rest, and maybe it worked because he's batting 306 for the Brew Crew. We're going to see him tomorrow. No, in 2 days. And, yeah, he's been great. And then we also gave up Danny Jackson, who is in the rotation for the Brew Crew. He's 1-3 with a terrible ERA, worse than us, and more walks and strikeouts, which is what he was doing for us. So I was crazy. He was just bad. And I hated to see him go, but he gone. And we're going to wrap it up here with 2 more trades. One, we traded Kirk Gibson to the White Sox for money. He's 4 for 8 with a double. That was a tougher one for me to do, but after that big loss that we had that day, that was it. And then the only other trade is Mike Stanley going from Cleveland to the White Sox. He also fell off the list of the player pyramid. He's batting 190 since going over there with 1 home run. He's their everyday catcher too. And in return, Cleveland got Howard Farmer and also Drew Denson, first baseman. A couple decent prospects. Okay, guys, so there is the trades that have taken place throughout the season. Let's go ahead, now that we've seen that, let's go ahead and take a look at the player pyramid for the end of July. And the top tier has stayed the same. Ricardo Sainz and Dennis Oilcan Boyd are still at the top. Ricardo Sainz, his WAR is already at 8.1, so he's having a hell of an overall season. Pardon me. Dennis Oilcan Boyd continues to pitch well for the Red Sox. Dale Swaim and Randy Azador switched spots. So it was Azador and then Swaim and Azador. Cockrell jumps up from the 3rd row, and Shooty Babbitt jumps up from the 4th row. So far, all 6 of the top players were from the month of June. And then out of nowhere comes Eric Davis. He was off the grid completely, and he is the best mover so far on the list. We had 6 players drop off. Dave Hengel, Teddy Higuera, Ron Romanick, Britt Burns of the White Sox, Tom Candiotti, who I believe is on the Cubs and got injured, and Mike Stanley, who we just saw got traded to the White Sox. So Eric Davis is one of those 6 newcomers. Ron Darling made a big jump. Luis Medina hanging in there. Kurt Ford fell, and Jim Traber moved up as well. So did Dave Henderson. Fritzy Connolly dropped down, and there's Damon Berryhill, still hanging in there, still among the league leaders, and I think a big part of that is his improvement that he's shown since he joined the team in the last week, I guess. Kevin Mitchell hanging in there for Seattle, the same as Mark Langston. Mike Witt has dropped. And then here are the newcomers in the bottom row. Cal Daniels, Bill Gullickson, who was on the list at one point, fell off in his comeback. Mike Lavalier, Andy Van Slyke. So those are the all the newcomers. Chico Walker, Fernando Valenzuela, and Al Lakowitz. Oh yeah, Al Lakowitz is new as well. He was off the list and came back. So those are the players on the pyramid. Not a lot of movement, to be honest. I would have thought there would be more newcomers this late in the season, but I think players are really solidifying their statistical line, for this season. And there probably won't be much variance the rest of the way. So there you go with the player pyramid. And now all that's left is to take a look at the league leaders for through the month of July. So as usual, league leaders. As usual, we will take a look here at the offensive categories first, and we'll mix in fielding with the offense, and then we'll take a look at the pitchers last. So here's the batting average leaders in the American League. Unfortunately, Lenny Harris is now in single A. When we traded George Brett to Milwaukee, That forced the American League batting leader to single A. He does not have enough at bats to qualify. So unless he comes back and gets another 155 or so at bats, or plate appearances at least, he's not going to qualify. So he'll just fall off, and that'll make things interesting for Ricardo Sainz, the number one player in the league right now. He could win the Triple Crown. He's batting .334. You see Chico Walker, Dale Swaim, Randy Azador, Ernie Riles, Wade Boggs, Bob Pate. There's Willie Wilson. He had a big day today, getting him into the top 10. And then Jim Traber to round out the top 10. Down here in the top 25 is Kennedy and Larkin. So we do have some hitters that we can count on. And I'm happy to see at least 3 Tigers on that list. But it'll also be interesting to see who wins this batting title with Lenny Harris off the board. Okay, I guess we'll look at bats. Chico Walker ahead by 15. Of course, no Tigers around there. We'll look at doubles. Holy cow, Terry Kennedy in third place with 26 doubles. Willie Wilson's got 23. Jim Eisenreich has 20 combined with Minnesota and Detroit. So Tim Flannery, Paul Molitor. You see the rest of the top 10. It's funny because Steve Kemp has lost his power. So has Bob Pate. But it's like the game sort of makes up for it by giving him more doubles. What am I doing? Okay. Shoot. Grounding in the double play. No Tigers on that list because we hit and run so much during the season. But Troy Neal's hit into 29 double plays. And there's Butch Weiniger, who had lost his job. Maybe that's part of the reason. Okay, then we have extra base hits. Dale Swaim is at 57. TK's got 40, and Jim Eisenreich's got 35. Very cool. Of course, you can pause this if you want longer looks. We'll take a look at the fielding averages for all the major positions. Catcher, we don't have anyone that qualifies because Terry Kennedy's the DH now. So Mickey Tettleton might win back-to-back Gold Gloves. Then at first base, Rusty Tillman is second in fielding percentage behind Alvin Davis, who has not made an error. How many games has he played? 96? So, yeah, that's impressive. All right, Darryl Sconyers at the bottom. Then at second base, Lou Whitaker in the middle of the pack. Marty Barrett getting the job done. LaRue Washington struggling for Toronto. Third base, we don't have anyone that qualifies. We've been mixing that up so much this year. Jack Howell, who has a 73 defensive rating, is somehow the best defensive third baseman. Okay. At shortstop, Barry Larkin in the middle. Yeah, Barry Larkin has fallen apart defensively. At short, he is not good yet. He's got an 81 rating. Tony Fernandez, Dickey, and Alan Trammell, of course, all right there at the top. I mean, I'm disappointed in Barry Larkin, but, I mean, he wasn't even in the majors yet. So I think he's going to improve over time. Left field, we just got rid of Gibson, who was having a very good season defensively. Kudos to him. Antonio Aguilera, another defensive player who's terrible, leading the American League in left field. We'll take a look at center field. Daniel Fernandez, has he ever made an error? I guess he did last year. He made 2. This year he's made none. And his range has improved. Has it? Oh, yeah, no, he's good. He's good. Okay, never mind. All right, so Daniel Fernandez, Willie Wilson right there in the middle of the pack. He's having a good year. And then we have right field. And Jim Eisenreich in the middle of the pack, with Bob Pate leading all the American League with a .995 fielding percentage. Okay, moving on. Games played. Dick Davis starting every day at the DH spot. Same can be said for the two other DHs, Molitor and Nelson Simmons. Interesting. Huh. Rod Allen's a DH. Antonio Aguilera was. Troy Neal is. I mean, there's a lot of DHs on there. Interesting. DHs don't get days off. Hits. Chico Walker, wow, 13 more than anybody else. And Willie Wilson in the 6th spot. I wish we could play him every day, but eventually it'll list him as being tired, and I am compelled to keep him rested so that he can continue to play well for us. So good for him. Who's been hit by a pitch the most? Chuck Jackson. I got hit the most. 6 times. Pagliarilla's been hit 4 times. In my entire baseball career, I've only ever been hit 1 time. And that was in the middle of the back, and it hurt like a bitch. Let's see. Home runs. Dale Swaim has 34. And Ricardo Sainz is right there. So I think he's among the league leader. I mean, you can say for all of these guys, these first 4 guys, any of them could win the Triple Crown. Tim Hewlett. I mean, it's a little bit of a drop off there. Hengel, Hewlett, Dickey. Come on. Jim Traber, Rod Allen. For whatever reason, the White Sox, not named Dale Swaim, have really fallen off with the home runs. There's Mark McGwire. He's got 20 for the first time in his career. Kevin Mitchell led the American League in home runs at one point. Dante Bichette is injured. There's Ron Kittle. And Ron Kittle lost his job. He lost his job when Kirk Gibson came over. Sorry about that, Ron Kittle. But Kittle was on the downslide. So I don't feel bad about that. Let's see. Intentional walks. And this doesn't really much matter, as Randy Azador has 4. Okay. On base percentage, Ricardo Sainz looking to possibly be the MVP. Wait, did we have anybody on there? Barry Larkin, 364. Wait, did we trade somebody? No. Okay. Outfield assists. This is always an embarrassing category. Tom Dunbar and Clint Hurdle have thrown out 10 batters. Dunbar has a below average arm, and we know Clint Hurdle does. He's a wee man out there with a 70. Jose Gonzalez in center field with a 76. Danny Tartable, we know he's got in real life he had a great arm. In this game, he's got a 76. And then all the other Schlubbersons. Kirk Gibson, not on the list, but he had 4 before we traded him. Okay, moving along. OPS, Ricardo Sainz, Dale Swaim, and Randy Azador, all over 1,000. Alan Cockrell right there too. Unsung hero, Dave Henderson. There's 4 Seattle players right there. And Terry Kennedy in the top 25. Good job by him. All right, RBI. Dale Swaim and Ricardo Sainz. So that's going to come down to those two. Dale Swaim at 106 RBI in how many games? In 99 games, or 100 games. 106 total. That's crazy. For a nobody shortstop. And then a nobody Mexican League player, Ricardo Sainz, he never really played in the majors. I kind of like that, though. Like I've said it before. I don't really mind that so much. It would also be nice if Barry Bonds was good, but they don't somehow want to have everybody be good. Runners thrown out behind the plate. Terry Kennedy, 22. Damon Berryhill, 15 in the American League. Marty Party had 7. Donnie Scott. He's got an 88 arm. Why are you running on that guy? That's crazy. Good for him. And then percentage thrown out. Donnie Scott's 36.3%. So nobody's even at 40. That's weird. Runs scored. Nobody in our team scores runs. Chico Walker has 91. Wow. All right. Sacrifice hits. Dougie Baker, 11. That's so dumb. Sacrifice flies. Well, Terry Kennedy has 5, which is pretty good since I never call for them. And Dante Pichette's injured, so he probably won't hold that one for much longer. Slugging percentage. Yeah, it's down to the same few. Terry Kennedy, top 17. Stolen bases. We have nobody on this list. Our best stolen base guy is Willie Wilson with 11. And starting tomorrow, we will start stealing again, picking our spots, of course. Stan Jefferson has 52. Caught 20 times. Weird. Okay. We're almost done here. Who struck out the most? Randy Azador struck out 91 times. No Tigers on that list. We traded everybody away. Total bases. Terry Kennedy on the list. Dale Zwaim has 20 more total bases than Ricardo Sainz. That's crazy. Triples. Felder. Denny Gonzalez. Walks. Mark McGuire and Mickey Tettleton. Interesting. That's right. You can't argue with that. Pretty good. And that's it, right? Okay. Let's take a look at pitchers, and then we'll wrap this baby up. Let's see. I guess we're going in order. Complete games. Oil Can and Randy O'Neal. That's dumb. Teddy Higuera has 3. He's got 1 with us. And then we have ERA. Oil Can Boyd. Just a little bit better than Dan Petrie. I think we can get Teddy Higuera's down. Jeff Robinson, I can't even believe he's still there. Now, with a couple more good outings, David Cone will qualify. We're at game 105, and David Cone has 99.2 innings pitched. And that'll put him right in the top 10 once he qualifies. So that'll be interesting when he gets there. Anybody else of note? Not really, other than there are 18 pitchers that qualify that's sub 4. So, I don't know what that means, but games pitched, hey, what do you know? Dave Smith, Jeff Montgomery, Todd Fisher, and Shotzi. Dave Rosema with 33. He's starting now for Baltimore. And everybody else belongs to other teams. Oh, Keith Comstock. Oh, so Keith Comstock is the best non-Tiger pitcher, and he's on Montreal now. That's baseball mogul for you. Okay, who's induced the most double plays? Roy Smith for Cleveland. No Tigers. We never get double plays. Who's hit the most batters? Larry White for Oakland. Kelly's got 5. Higuera 4. Petrie 4. Who's given up the most home runs? Mike Warren has given up 34 home runs for Oakland. He was on a pretty big career trajectory. And this year he's kind of come back to earth a little bit. Still looking good, though. No Tiger. Well, Rosema's got to be on this list. Yeah, 22 before we traded him. Okay, almost done. Innings pitched. Teddy Higuera. Well, that's primarily with Milwaukee, right? We do a 5-man rotation no matter what, so that's what keeps us off the list. Innings per game. Higuera. Okay, weird. I don't care about any of that. Quality starts. Higuera 13. Oil Can Boyd leading with 19. No other Tigers. With our low team ERA, you would think we would have more quality starts, but I pull the guys just as soon as they're about ready to blow, right? We bring in the good defense and the good bullpen, and that's how we get it done. Dave Smith is leading the American League with saves, 28. Todd Fisher's got a couple, whatever. Joe Baver of Oakland is right there, too. Making a go. Shutouts. Randy O'Neill's got 4. I think he's got 1 or 2 against us. There's David Cohn representing us. That's nice. Then we have starts. 24 is the most anyone has. Strikeouts pitched. Mark Langston is first with 177, and Teddy Higuera is second with 149. I guess I didn't realize that he was that far up the list. 19 and 21. He's not going to win the strikeout crown, but I got to keep that in mind to keep him, up there. Make him pitch an extra inning, maybe. Strikeouts per 9. Yeah, like you might expect. Brian Kelly does lead our team in pitching strikeouts, and he gets almost 7 per game, so you got to give him credit for that. And we're almost done. I guess we're looking at walks per 9. Teddy Higuera, Jeff Robinson. All right. And last but not least, wins. So as we close out July, Boyd, Langston, and Randy O'Neill all have 15. Britt Burns, Richard Dotson, and Mike Witt have 14. Teddy Higuera has 10 combined, and I believe David Cohn just got his 9th win this morning. So we're going to very likely have at least one pitcher get to 10 wins, which is something. Just a quick look at the National League. Willie McGee over Tony Gwynn right now. Jody Reed, former Tiger, batting in the 3rd spot there. If I would have known that, I would have traded Lou Whitaker and kept Alan Trammell. Home runs, Rob Deere's got 27. San Francisco hitting them out. Eric Davis is right there, and Luis Medina, and Cal Daniels. That's why he's on the pyramid. Kurt Ford is on the pyramid. Len Matusik not, but helping out Philadelphia. You look at the RBI, Cal Daniels doing a good job. And stolen bases, Ricky with 44. Eric Davis with 41, so he's second in home runs and second in steals. Let's just pull up the National League pitching categories so that we have some reference here. We have ERA, strikeouts, wins, and saves. So Tim Belcher leading the National League, an ERA with a 2.54. Someone named Steve Howard. Oh, what a dum-dum. Strikeouts pitched. There we go. That makes more sense. Ron Darling, J.R. Richard, Fernando, Mario Soto. These are the guys you would expect. Let's see Randy Johnson on there. With wins, Tim Belcher has 16. Looks like he's very likely going to be the Cy Young Award winner again, back-to-back seasons. Roger Clemens on the list. And with saves, Alejandro Pena leading all of baseball with 29. Bill Caudill has 28. Very cool. Okay, everybody. I think that pretty much does it. Just a quick reminder that we do have another giveaway coming up, taking place between Game 120 and Game 122. I haven't solidified the prizes, so we're going to keep it on a moving scale there. But it is coming up very soon. We're in Game 106 starting tomorrow. We flip the calendar to July. There you have it. So, in order to be in the duck race, which we use for our giveaway, you must be a subscriber. And then that's it. And once you're subscribed, you can get in on all of our giveaways for the future. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, guys. We're almost through the season, the final year of the Detroit Tigers sim. We'll get right back at it tomorrow, wrapping up the series versus the Angels. Until then, everyone, have a great day.